You're giving the impression that the Aiyedatiwa administration is being clever by half, too clever by half.
I would have been clever by half. Let me put it that way. I would have been clever by half. We've never had this dozer in terms of proper communication. We've never had this awkward. We will not be where we are if immediately after we had the budget and the whatever it is passed, the thing is on the website for everybody to read it between the lines. As a group, we were on the state government for months before we could have the budget being published, be published on the website. And going through the website, I can throw it to you. Go through the website, you still see how evasive government has become, and you'll be wondering, are we having a government like, what are these people taking the citizens or indigenous of Ondo State for? So our issue...
You also talk about being inconsistent, fiscal inconsistency.
Yes, inconsistency.
Meaning that they would have said one thing and the actual performance will be totally different.
Let me give you a very empirical situation in Ondo State. Initially, when we are going to have the budget for this fiscal year, the budget was presented for at about 655 billion naira. Suddenly, we had this surge that was unexplained, and we have budget being passed for 689 billion. In the middle of implementation of budget, we had there was a revised budget. 689 billion naira was revised back to 480 billion or thereabouts. We're still dealing with that because we have our institutions, staffs are not being paid and all of that. We're dealing with that. And just in November, a government that claimed to have revised, just in November, you are coming up with supplementary budget of over 500 billion naira. Barely a month or two to the end of the fiscal year.
The State House of Assembly, were they complicit?
Of course.
Because you can't do that kind of thing.
Where the applause, yes, the applause, that didn't see the light of the day, because at some point, we are where some members of the cell had to stage a walkout when the issue was presented. So that alone should explain certain things to you. Where do we stand? Budget 689 or whatever billion. It was revised in the middle of it to 480-something billion. Before the 689 billion was passed or approved, so to say, it was 655 billion. Now you have 655 billion, sir. You have 655 billion. The surge that made it 689 billion naira remain unexplained to date.
And you are alleging that this has spurred, 43.4 billion naira increase. So and this was not explained.
This was not explained. You can see that what we are asking for is very simple. Yes, it happens in government that certain things, yes, thank God we didn't have a case of flood in Ondo State. There are some very unnatural events that happens that could make fund not to be enough or to be underperformed, whatever it is. But in this case, there is no explanation.
Even though you asked?
There is no explanation. Well, must a responsible government wait till they ask?
Okay.
Must a responsible government wait till they... I'm coming to that question. We asked. That is what you are reading. We have been on this government from January till date. Every month we are having our state of state address. We asked.
I really
but wish... But must you wait for us to even ask?
I really wish that a representative of government, of Governor Aiyedatiwa's administration, could have joined us. So what we, of course, will be giving them the right of reply. If they watch this, they hear this, they listen to this. If they have, anything to say.
I would be very much obliged to come around. In fact, you'll be doing us a lot of good if you can bring their representative And that's why I'm going to spew as much as I want to spew today, so that you have a lot in your hand when they come to ask them. Let me tell you what happened in that budget.
Okay.
It was claimed that in that same budget, the sum of over 11 billion naira was allocated to the Ministry of Justice, to the Ministry of Finance, to the Commissioner for Finance, as so-called security votes. And we begin to ask questions. Security votes. How you things that you can't, as learned as you might think you are, you can't even place it. You cannot place it. So you can't place them.
Well, what does security vote mean, by the way?
Well,
because usually we hear that the security vote, one of the problems that civil society has with security votes is that it's not subject to...
It's not accounted for. Basically, security vote used to be from the federal to the state. And of course, by the name security, this is a vote coming for the purpose of security
and
of life and the rest of it.
Eventually.
So, now, that is why we said we are worried that how on earth should we be having anything related to security votes being allocated to a particular ministry? And don't forget, we are talking about Ministry of Finance, whose table it lies to have the budget implemented, have the budget passed, have the budget prepared. In the same budget, that was where we had that over 200 million naira is being allocated to buy an SUV for the office of the Commissioner for Finance.
You have your issues with the administration of Governor Aiyedatiwa. It's clear.
With the issue we have with the government of Aiyedatiwa, when you say we have our issue or have my issue with government of Aiyedatiwa, what I've placed before you now, like it should get you a bit worried.
But they say that, for instance, what you have said, when we are hearing that you are calling it a budget review, they say no, it was a recalibration.
What is recalibration, sir? That is it, sir. Sir, maybe, you see, we should do, when invite them, then let's do our understudy when it comes to budget. What is recalibration? You see, these are the issues we have with the government. I remember when I was raising this particular issue on one of the social media platforms, somebody came in from the government, he said it's essay public enlightenment, and he was trying to tell me that we should know the difference between revised budget and supplementary budget. These are all semantics.
Well,
what is recalibration?
I beg your pardon. I'm being told that there's a viewer who is watching and has called in. We didn't catch his name. Good morning to you. Tell us your name, please, and where are you calling from? Well, I'm hearing that we lost that call. We don't really have any idea where that call is coming from. But please keep the calls coming in the absence of having someone from the administration of Governor Aiyedatiwa in the studio. And of course, we are by this extending an invitation to them to come and rebut, explain, do whatever, just as my guest, Barrister Adedotun Ajulo, Secretary Ondo Redemption Front, is doing now. So do keep those calls coming.
So you say recalibration.
Yes.
And we keep asking, what is all of this semantics about? These things are very simple. Have this thing be itemized one after the other and place it to the public. For us to, for my son in primary school to be able to read and understand. That is what we are calling. You see, the government should be more accountable. Hey, this was not the government. Let Governor Aiyedatiwa left. We didn't have it this bad. What we are saying is that the communication gap is just too wide.
Okay, that is, well, the communication, meaning that there is hardly any communication.
There is hardly any communication. You need to go and read, even when we raise some of these allegations, these things, at some point, PDP came up with their own version, calling it they said it's a budget of recovery. That was what the government captioned it. The PDP came to say it's a budget of, I think, budget of stealing or whatever. And they itemized, I'm saying this is an allegation.
That's the allegation.
And you need to see, you need to go through this maybe much after later. I think it was in Vanguard. And to see the response of the one-line response of the Commissioner for Information. Let me even tell you, we have this fear about the government. It seems that people in the cabinet are not even well carried along